Hi everyone, welcome to new video from Not Real Engineering, and in this video we are going to learn something totally new, which is shape memory alloy modeling using finite element analysis. This is a very vast topic, so I'm going to create a video series with 5 videos, this being the first part of that series. In this video, we are going to focus on basics of shape memory alloys. And as you saw in the thumbnail already, by that I mean what are shape memory alloys, how do they work, what is the physics behind them. First obvious question is, what are shape memory alloys? In simple words, these are metallic materials which you can deform permanently like this, and when this deformed part is heated, it will go back to its original shape. And finally, when you again cool it down, it will not change shape. As you can see, this is a unique phenomenon, and because of this, they exhibit two unique properties. The one is shape memory effect, which we just discussed, and another is super elasticity. Now the shape memory effect, this is the ability to remember its original shape. This is what we just saw here. And the another property, which is known as super elasticity, this is the ability to undergo large deformation and immediately return to undeformed shape. There is no heating involved here. And these both properties are kind of linked together. Basically, if you already start with heated part, then apply some loading and deform it. As soon as you remove the load, it will go back to its original shape because it's already heated. So that comes under super elasticity. Now if we compare this behavior in terms of stress strain plot, you can see over here the first graph is for ordinary material. Initially we load it, it undergo elastic deformation, then yielding happens, then plastic deformation happens, and when we unload we will recover the elastic strain, but there will be some permanent strain. Now in case of shape memory effect, stress strain graph is similar until this point over here. Elastic deformation, plastic deformation, and then recovery of elastic deformation. But when you supply heat, it recovers the plastic deformation as well, and material will again go to origin. Lastly, in case of super elasticity, there is a very subtle difference here. Imagine it is already at higher temperature. Then if you load the part, there will be elastic deformation, then there will be plastic deformation. But as soon as you start unloading, the strain recovery will be simultaneously for elastic as well as plastic strain. Hence, material will follow this path and will go back to origin again. The reason to differentiate between them is because some applications only need super elastic behavior and some applications need shape memory effect behavior. And software Mark has different constitutive models for these different behaviors. We will see them in a bit. Just to give a complete picture, I added this slide as well. Here we see some commonly used shape memory alloys. Out of this, nickel titanium, also known as nitinol, is the most well-known shape memory alloy. These shape memory alloys are used in many applications such as medical devices or as actuators in aerospace industry. They are used in some consumer products as well. Here they are mainly used for their super elastic characteristic, and also in many robotics applications where they are used because of their ability to produce force or motion due to temperature change. Before we discuss the modeling part of SMA, it is very important to understand why they have these characteristics or what is the physics behind it. The ability to restore its original shape is consequence of reversible solid-solid phase transformation. That means shape memory alloy has two crystallographic phases. One phase is called austenite, which is more ordered phase, and another phase is called martensite, which is less ordered phase. At low temperature, material is in martensite phase, which can undergo permanent deformation, and when we supply heat, martensite phase gets transformed into austenite phase, which is more structured phase, and then after cooling it will again come back to martensite phase. Now within the martensite phase, there are again two sub-phases we can say. One is called twinned martensite and another is called detwinned martensite, and these both phases are stable. That's why it can undergo plastic deformation. So initially we begin with twinned martensite, and as we apply loading, this twinned martensite gets transformed into detwinned martensite. Upon unloading, it stays in that form. Only elastic strain will be recovered, which will be very less compared to the plastic strain, and after heating, this detwinned martensite will go to austenite phase. Now the thing to focus here is austenite is highly ordered phase, so there is only one orientation possible in austenite. But this detwinned martensite, there can be multiple stable arrangements. So let's say you started with this twinned martensite, and if you apply different loads, you will get different stable arrangements of detwinned martensite. But all those different stable arrangements eventually will lead to same austenite arrangement, and that you can see over here. We started with this. Let's say we apply tensile load. We got this arrangement of detwinned martensite. we apply shear, we got this arrangement. We apply some mixed loading, we got this arrangement. But all the arrangements after heating will go back to same arrangement of austenite. And when you cool this, we will get twinned martensite, but the shape will be same. If we plot these arrangements on stress strain graph, you are starting with twinned martensite. As plastic deformation occurs, it converts into detwinned martensite. After unloading, it stays the same, and after heating, it will go to austenite. Now here this is stress and strain, and we are talking about one more parameter, which is temperature. So it is very difficult to plot that on 2D diagram. That's why we introduce one more axis, and that axis will be temperature, which is coming out of the plane. Now this stress strain graph here, it's same as this one. We are starting from 0 over here, which is twinned martensite. We apply loading, deformation occurs, it becomes detwinned martensite. We unload it, still it is detwinned martensite. And then when we apply heat, the temperature increase will be plotted on this axis. So as temperature increases, you can see strain is going back to 0. And here we get austenite. And when we cool down this austenite, it will again go back to twinned martensite. Only stress strain diagram here can't give us full picture, as temperature is one of the vital part of this process. Now this is shape memory effect. The another characteristic, which is super elasticity, that we can show over here. So let's say component is already heated. That means when we start, it is already in austenite phase. Here when we apply loading, eventually because of stress, austenite gets converted to martensite, which is shown over here by point E. And then when we start unloading, that martensite gets converted again into austenite, and it will come back to this position. Here you can see for superelasticity, temperature is not changing. We are on the same plane. That's why for this superelasticity, Mark has different material model where temperature is constant, and for shape memory effect, Mark has different material model where temperature is also considered. Hence, depending on your application, you can choose between these two constitutive models, and those models are shown over here. These two models are for shape memory effect. Here temperature is important, that's why those are thermostructural models. Again, there are two types, but they are very close to each other. And for superelasticity, Mark has this model, which is only structural model, because we don't have to consider the temperature change. I think that's a good point to stop. We have 4 more videos coming up. In next video, we will discuss mathematical model behind shape memory alloys, which is used in software Mark Mentat. In the video after that, we will see a simple example where we will use this shape memory alloy material and simulate something shown over here. This is a kind of simple example, but in 4th video, we will solve a little bit more complex example than that, which is orthodontic wire bending, and that example is shown over here. And finally, in the last video, we will discuss a specific material model used only for superelasticity part. And of course, we'll solve an example using that as well. If you like this video, please show your support by subscribing to this channel, which will give me motivation to create more educational videos like these. You can also go to channel's playlist tab, and here you can see all the videos with similar topics combined together. For example, let's say if you're interested in ANSYS tutorials, you can go to this ANSYS tutorial playlist and see all the videos from this playlist. All the codes and files which I use for these videos are also available for you to directly download from this channel's GitHub profile. The link of this profile is given in the description box below. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching.